I'm going to take you through an order of operation problem. This is a problem that is straight out of the 8th grade pre-algebra book. We already did this problem, so this isn't one on any of the math assignments that you have due for tomorrow. This is just one that we already did. The reason I want both the 7th and 8th grade to watch this is because this has a lot of elements in it. We've got exponents, we've got square roots, we've got a cube root, we have parentheses, we have subtraction, we have a bracket. There's a lot of different things going on in this problem, so I think it's a good example to go through all of the steps of the order of operation. If it looks too complicated for you, don't worry about it. This is just a video to help you whenever you're doing your math assignments and you get to these order of operation problems. So if you remember from your book, I think both the 7th and 8th grade had this acronym in their book, PEMDAS. A way of remembering that was, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Sorry about my writing. Anyway, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What this was trying to teach us is to remember that we do parentheses first, exponents second, multiplication, then division, then addition, then subtraction. A lot of us were getting confused by this because of multiple things. Some of our problems have brackets in them. What do we do with that? Some of our problems have roots in it. What do we do with that? Multiplication and division. According to this, it looks like multiplication comes first and then division. So we're going to scratch that, and I'm going to show you a different way to remember the order of operations. First, we find our groupings. Groupings are any numbers that are held together by parentheses, brackets, or even these fun little squiggly marks. I don't really know what you call them. But those are different groupings that you'll find in a math problem. That's the first step. The second step are exponents and roots. And these can be in any order. It can be your root first and then your exponents. We just need to know that we do exponents and roots second. And roots would include cube roots, fifth roots, anything with this symbol. Third thing we do is multiplication and division in either order. And then fourth, addition and subtraction in either order. We read from left and right. We do our math from left and right. So it doesn't matter if multiplication and division are first. What matters is that we look at what comes first, left to right. Same with addition and subtraction. We do our math left to right with either one of these, but we do have to do multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So again, we have our groupings, parentheses, brackets, then we have our exponents and our roots, third, our multiplication and division, fourth, our addition and subtraction. So let's go back to this problem. We have a lot of different things going on here, like I said before. The first step that we were told to do was our groupings. So we have a couple different groups here, a few different groups. We have a bracket, we have a parenthesis, and another parenthesis. We are going to start with our bracket because it holds all those groups together, but within our bracket, we're going to do the parenthesis on the left side first. In this parenthesis, we do our roots and our exponents. That's step 2. Square root of 36 is 6, and 2 to the second power, or 2 squared, is 4. We solve this. 6 minus 4 is 2. That's what our answer is for our first parenthesis. Our second parenthesis, 1 plus the square root of 16, we cannot add, because we can't just add 1 to a square root, so we have to solve for the square root first. Square root of 16 is 4. We're going to add the 1. Our answer inside this parenthesis is a 5. So if we look at what's in our bracket now, we have 2 squared, 2 in a parenthesis, 5 in a parenthesis, minus the cube root of 27 over 125. Again, this is all still in our bracket. We're still working our bracket. The next thing, after our grouping, after we took care of these two groups, the next thing we do is our exponents and our roots. So here we have 2 squared. That's 4. We're going to multiply it by 2. The reason I'm leaving the parenthesis out now is because I don't need it. It's not holding multiple things together. But remember, anytime you have a number next to a parenthesis, this means multiplication. When you have a parenthesis by a parenthesis, that means multiplication. Here it does not, because we have a subtraction symbol on the outside of our parenthesis. So let's go back down here. We have 4 times 2 times 5. And then we need to simplify our square root here. This, I know a lot of you were getting hung up on, doing the cube root of a fraction, particularly the 7th graders, because we didn't really work on this very much yet. But when you do the cube root or square root of a fraction, you're going to do the numerator and denominator separately and then just put them back together as their fraction. So the cube root of 27 would be 3 times 3 equals 9 times 3 is 27. So the cube root of 27 is 3. The cube root of 125, 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So here we have 5. Now as we multiply across, we're going to multiply before we subtract. In this case, it just happens to be in the right order, left to right. So we're going to go 4 times 2 is 8, times 5 equals 40, minus 3/5. All right, now to figure out the answer inside our parenthesis, we have to do this subtraction problem. Remember, when you subtract or add within a fraction, you have to have the same denominator. Here there's no denominator written in, but we know we can just assume a 1 there, because a whole number always is a fraction with a 1 over it. So we need to have a common denominator. When we have a 1 in our denominator, the easiest way to find the common denominator is just to multiply. So 5 is going to be our common denominator. But if we're going to change this to a 5, what we're actually doing to keep the value of 40 is multiplying it by a fraction that's equal to 1. Fraction equal to 1, remember, is anything like 1 over 1, 2 over 2, 3 over 3. So here we're going to multiply 5 over 5 because we want our denominator to be 5. So our fraction here is going to be 200 over 1. And 200 over 5, I'm sorry if I just messed you up, minus 3/5. 200 minus 3 is 197 over 5. That is the answer for our bracket. We simplified that bracket. We solved the bracket, so it's 197 over 5. But we didn't finish the whole problem. We still have these two exponents on the outside. So we have 3 squared plus 2 squared multiplied by 197 over 5. The reason I'm multiplying is just like the parentheses could become multiplication. When you have a number outside of a bracket, you multiply. So here we have this other multiplicate. We have 197 over 5 multiplied by these. So now what do we do? Remember, our order of operations was our groupings. We don't have any groups left. Then second was our exponents and square roots. So here we have two exponents. 3 squared is 9, plus 2 squared is 4, multiplied by 197 over 5. So again, first we do groupings, second we do exponents, now we do multiplication and division left to right. This is addition, so we have to do our multiplication first. 4 times 197, I can't just do that in my head, so I'm going to do it over here. 197 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. 9 times 4 is 36, 38. And 4 times 1 is 4. So we have 788 fifths. 788 fifths. And we're going to add 9. How do we do that? Okay, again, we're going to assume a 1 here. We need a common denominator, so we want it to be 5. So we're going to multiply by a fraction equal to 1, 5 over 5. So we have 45 fifths plus 788 fifths. 788 plus 45 is 13. 833 over 5. All right, so we had 833 over 5. We cannot leave our answer like this. We are going to turn it back into a mixed number. Sometimes your book will allow this, sometimes it won't, but I'm going to change this back into a mixed number. All we do is divide the numerator by the denominator. So we have 166, and remember, your remainder, we have a remainder of 3 comes up here as a remainder, and then we put the 5 as the denominator. So our answer is 166 and 3/5. Okay. If you have any questions about the order of operations, just try to remember groupings are first, which means parentheses, brackets, any other kind of symbol that holds your numbers together. Number 2 is exponents and roots. 3 is multiplication and division, and 4 is addition and subtraction. If you have any questions, please email me and I can talk to you about how we work through some of these things if you still don't get it. There are some links to some other teachers presenting the same material that might be helpful to hear it from a different person's perspective. So let me know if you want me to forward you some of those videos.